Hey guys, this is Nate from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's video, I want to be talking on how to run a 2:45 marathon. And if anybody that's trying to run 2:44:59 or faster for the marathon distance is extremely disciplined, focused, and has a level of talent. I mean, anybody that's trying to run 6:17 per mile pace for 26.2 miles or 3 minutes and 54 seconds per kilometer for 42.2 kilometers definitely has some form of genetic talent, but also has a very high work ethic as well. Because as I said before in all my other videos, you cannot rely on your talent alone if you want to succeed in the marathon distance or in any middle to long distance event. Robert Herjavec on Shark Tank recently said that execution beats out talent any day. So if you have a level of talent and you're not putting in the work, you're not going to be able to run 2:44:59 or faster for the marathon. You have got to be willing to put in a heavy amount of anaerobic work along with aerobic work as well, because that's very, very important. And so today's video, I want to discuss some of the key concepts you really need to be thinking about if you're wanting to run this concept of how to run a 2:45 marathon. You really need to be focusing on building your endurance, making sure that you're putting in consistent volume over a long period of time, preferably over a 4-month block of training. Over the years when I was training for the marathon and trying to break 2:22, which was for me my personal goal, I was always focusing on 4-month blocks. So I would focus 16 weeks. I would take about a 2-week break off. I would take about 2 weeks off and then focus back on a 16-week block of training. So in order to run 2:44:59 or faster, you must be willing to be very consistent with your training. Some of the workouts I would be focusing on when I was getting very, very fit, if you're an athlete that's trying to go 2:45 flat or faster, early on, focus on running your mile repeats around 5:30 to 5:35 per rep with a 3-minute recovery. As you're getting very fit, you're much more anaerobically fit, I would focus more around 5:05 to 5:10 per mile repetition on the track, but give yourself less recovery, preferably around 2 minutes. Over the years, and I talk about this in a lot of other videos as well, varying up your long run. You need to get beyond just running long, slow, easy long runs every weekend in order to run 2:44:59. You need to get accustomed to running well under 6-minute mile pace to get that 6:17 mile pace or 3:54 kilometer pace to feel more manageable in the race. So doing those repeat miles when you're further into your 16-week block of training, preferably in the last 8 weeks of training, start getting those mile repeats down to around 5:05 to 5:07 per rep, and get to a point where you can do 2-mile repetitions on the track in 10:10 to around 10:20 per repetition. When I was leading into my big marathon races, I would always aim to try to run, at least for me, because I was trying to run 5:25 mile pace, or around 3:20 per K in my marathons. I would aim to run under 10 minutes flat for each 2-mile repetition, and I would do 3 2-mile repetitions on the track. So with you, if you can get to a point where you can do 3 2-mile repetitions at around 5:10 to 5:15 per repetition, so doing those, if you're doing at 5:10 to 5:15 per mile pace, or around 10:20 to 10:30 per 2-mile on the track, you're going to be very, very prepared to run under 2:44:59. Again, marathoning is complex. This particular time is very, very competitive. You're getting close to a very, elite type level of running. So a lot's going to be required out of you to run under 2:45 for the marathon. You got to work on your leg speed. They're running this fast is, again, it's about pace sustainment, being able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. The only way to do that is to train at your VO2 max, or to especially to train at your VO2 max, because you're training at paces that are so fast that you simply cannot clear the lactic acid faster than it's building up. So spending some sufficient time each week running at very high anaerobic efforts is going to make that your race pace feel easier. If you're training at closer to 5-minute mile pace or say around 315 to 320 kilometer pace, how much easier is 617 mile pace going to feel, or 354 K pace? How much easier is that going to feel in the race? So, there's nothing easy about running this type of time. If you're somebody that's maybe you're at 305 or 310 and you want to run a 245 marathon or faster, I always say the faster you want to run in this particular event, the more that's going to be required out of you. The first time I ran the marathon was in 2002 at the New York City Marathon, and I ran 2:43:36, so a very similar time to this, not too far off here, just a little bit faster. But I know how difficult and competitive a 245 marathon is. So again, it's going back to the basics, the things I talk about in the other videos, in my running courses and training programs. It's all set on athletes that are trying to run a specific time and getting that goal race pace to feel easier. It's never going to feel easy, but to feel easier and more manageable, more sustainable, not as anaerobic. You want it to feel more like you're on a moderately hard run. So when you get to the race, you're able to make those changes in paces. You're able to react to the moves that your competition's throwing at you in the race. And you're able to have that additional mental and physical confidence because you've done the work in training. Definitely make sure that you're paying attention to your hydration in training. If you want to improve on your marathon performances and run 245 or faster, you got to be doing all the other little details that a lot of athletes miss or are not paying as much attention to. If you have the physical capability to run this fast, anybody that's seeking to go this quick has some form of genetic ability, but they also have a very high work output. They have very high level of drive and motivation. But you got to be paying attention to the other fundamentals to run a time this quick. Hydration, not skimping on, if you're just sipping in the race and you're not taking in enough fluids, or you're not taking in those gel packs. I prefer in a marathon taking about 3 of those in a race, because that's an additional 100 to 150 calories that goes immediately into your bloodstream, and your body needs that when you're racing at these types of times. 617 mile pace or 354 per K, you've got to be in great physical shape, but you also have to be very strong mentally as well. So mental training is, if you want to take your marathoning to the next level, you have to spend time each day visualizing success and rehearsing over and over in your mind, seeing yourself getting across the finish line in 2:44:59 or faster. See that time on the clock. Write down your goals. It's not just about thinking about it, but writing them down. I don't know, there's something powerful about that, but you're training the subconscious mind to do something before it becomes a reality in your life. The great Billy Mills said it best. He said the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality or imagination. So your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So if you're a 3:20 marathon right now, it doesn't, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a 2:44 and a 3:20. Okay, so you have to visually and mentally rehearse and mentally train to run a sub 2:45. Okay, so it's not just the physical training. I talk about alternating a harder long run followed the next week by an easier, relaxed jog long run. I'm talking, like for me, I would go out and I run 10-minute mile pace on my easy days, on my easy recovery long runs. But the week before that, I would do, a 32 kilometer, 32 to 35K long run at around 5:35 mile pace. So around, very low 3s per K pace for my harder long run. So you have to have that same amount of discipline that you have on the track and on the roads to do those hard anaerobic workouts. You have to have that same amount of discipline on your easy days. So make sure that you're jogging so that you can get the highest return on your investment from doing those hard anaerobic workouts on the track or on the roads. And like I said, you're trying to run 2:44:59. You have got to be on your game mentally as well as physically. And I wish there was an easier answer, but just telling the facts that anybody that's trying to run 2:44:59 had better be in very high anaerobic fitness. They had better have done their homework in terms of nutrition, hydration, getting enough rest, mentally rehearsing, visualizing over and over again, not just putting all the focus on your physical training, but also doing the things that I guarantee you your competition is not doing. Everybody focuses on the physical training. Let me tell you, when I was training for trying to break 2:20 for the marathon, I was always rehearsing. Even during training at night before I went to bed, I closed my eyes, spent about 10 to 15 minutes just seeing myself performing at the level that I was pursuing. And I know that mental rehearsal over and over and over again helped me get to a point where I eventually ran 2:19:35 for the marathon. Okay, so I have the utmost respect for anybody that's trying to run 2:45 or faster for the marathon. Anybody that's just trying to run a marathon has my respect. But the faster you go in this particular event, like I said, the more that's going to be required out of you. Okay, so focus on training at paces much faster than you're planning on racing. So doing one VO2 max workout per week, extending the duration of your tempo runs. Get it out to, if you're trying to run this fast, I would focus on getting your tempo run out to around 10 to 14 miles in length, preferably around 14. The longer you can spend at your training at your anaerobic threshold, the more efficient you're going to be getting your body, teaching your body to clear that lactic acid. Okay, so you want to be very efficient in terms of how you're burning fat. If you can burn fat at race pace and conserve carbohydrates, and conserve those carbs that you're going to need in the last 10 kilometers of your marathon, you're going to be much more set up for success to break 2:45 if you're extending the amount of time spent at your lactate threshold. Okay, so if you're doing 2 to 4 mile tempo runs, it's too short. You need to spend more time at that effort because you're going to be racing at your AT pace. So training very easy and relaxed, jogging on your easy days, so you're recovering from the hard, anaerobic workouts, but also spending, long periods of time training at your anaerobic threshold once per week. Get that tempo run, lengthen out to around 10 to 14 miles. These are the same types of philosophies and training principles that are built into my courses and training programs. So we always focus on also a recovery week about every 3 weeks. So you back off the volume somewhat, and the focus needs to be on recovery. If you're trying to run 2:45 or faster, it's not just the hard training that comes into play. It's about what are you doing during those rest periods. So I hope this video clears up some questions you have. This is a very fast time. It's going to require quite a bit out of you, but I do know that if you invest in yourself, start on a program that will tell you what you need to be doing on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, you're going to take out the guesswork of what you need to do in order to run a sub 2:45 marathon. I do have a 2:45 marathon training program on RunDreamAchieve.com, and I also have courses, a running course for athletes trying to go under 3 hours. So it might be something that you may be looking toward. If there's any other topics or anything else I can help you out with in order to break this barrier, let me know in the comment section below. Definitely give me a thumbs up if you can. I appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. I really want to hear more about what has been your biggest pain point in trying to break 2:45 for the marathon, or any particular time barrier that you're having issues with. Let me know in the comment section below. If you have any other topics or anything else I can cover in my future videos, definitely let me know. And I hope you all continue to succeed in your training. Again, I have the utmost respect for you trying to go under 2 hours and 45 minutes. This is a very competitive time. A very small percentage of people run this fast each year. So stay focused, stay motivated, visualize success, put in the heavy work, focus on your recovery. It's oftentimes the rest period is even more important than the training itself. So definitely jog on those easy days, because the hard days are going to take everything out of you. So make sure you're jogging. Forget about pace on easy days. Take off the watch. If you know the length of your course, focus on, okay, I got to do 20K, or I got to do 10K today, or I got to put a 10-miler in. Then that's what you need. If you know the distance of your course, then just put in the distance. Just put in the time on your feet, but don't worry about pace. Because on the track sessions, the tempo runs, the hill repetitions, they're going to be so highly anaerobic and such a huge challenge to you that you're going to really look forward to those easy days. So wish you guys all the best. I'll talk to you all in the next video.